So, good morning. Today we have Anna He, who's a level 1 student at the Global Forecasting School and an economist at the Central Bank of Armenia. My name is Doug Blackson. I am the acting governor today. My question for Anna He is, I really am worried about case A, and I'm worried about case B. I'm also worried about case X and Y. And so maybe what she could provide me is a really balanced assessment. In other words, if we were to go with a hawkish scenario or a dovish scenario, I'd like to know the arguments on both sides of those debates.
Okay, so like you said, I'm Anahit and I am acting like an advisor. Governor, according to staff current analysis about U.S. economy, we can say that we are in a hard time concerning about our policy decision, how we need to communicate it. And so we have two sides of effects. If we follow case, let me just briefly say what are the bases for case A scenarios and what are the bases for case B. So for case A scenario, we are coming from demand. So we are saying that households have accumulated net wealth and the asset market, like stock market, is also driving that demand high and helping it to remain high. And this demand for services and the uncertainty of labor market and financial conditions, which are in some sense they are showing loosening sides. These all are creating the picture of that inflation will remain high. And in this case, we can say that we need to remain restrictive. But in other case B, we can say that we are seeing cooling both in inflation and unemployment, and also we see financial loosening in financial conditions loosening when we are looking at delinquency rates, and also we can not ignore soft indicators. But why this is hard time? Because if we follow case A and we end up with case B, in the environment when we had already 3 years of high inflation, people and we will end up with case B. So soft indicators and financial conditions will be more tightened than we thought, and also labor market uncertainty maybe could indicate that labor market was not that much tight. In that case, we will have low inflation, and in worst case, this asset in stock market, we will have a huge correction, because market perceptions about coming quarters are quite positive, and they also have these incentives of correction in stock market. And in this case, if we will be more restrictive than we need to be, we will end up with recession, and we know how harmful this is for public when we have high unemployment and high unemployment rate and very low inflation. And also the problem is becoming more is becoming worse, because we have already accumulated a large amount of debt. So debt to GDP ratio is already 120%, I think. And according CBO projections, government will continue to accumulate that debt. And in that scenario, when we will have recession, our usage of our tools will be constrained. So this will be very hard to us to bring inflation back to a target from these low levels. But from the other case, when when we follow case B and end up with case A, this also has like bad effects, because, like I said, we already had 3 years of high inflation, and if we will be less restrictive when needed, and we will simulate economy, and already we have a tight job market, because we can see that for job prime job participation rate is already higher than before COVID, and with this lower unemployment rate, like 4.1%, we can see also tightness in labor market, and we will have, in that case, a higher inflation, and people will start to change their prices more frequently, and also it will be we will have lose in their inflation expectations. I mean, they will expect more inflation, and it will be harder to bring back that inflation. We will be more restrictive, and this will also cause fiscal unsustainability, because for government it will be harder to service their debt, their interest payments.
So Anahit, what I'm worried about is we have to make a decision, and I'm like, how are we going to communicate all this? Like, it's so complicated. Like, can you give me a simple story now, please? Bottom line.
Yeah, I think we need to keep rates unchanged, and wait until more data will come out, and we will have more information about labor market, and also about we can think more about this neutral rate, and the right way to communicate it. We need to talk with public and say, look, we are seeing this risk, and we are hoping that financial markets also will keep their eyes on that risk, and we are ready to adjust our instruments according to this risk, how we will see the developments of risk of economy. So if we will see that economy will remain strong, we will be act like that. So we need just to be transparent about our view about these scenarios. I mean, about case A and case B, and also about even recessionary case. And let me say that this is very important, because we already see that market about when market is talking about stock market, and also investors' behavior is changing, and for me, it's very important to communicate also a recessionary scenario.
I found that very clear, and it was done so quickly. So thank you very much. I think we can actually move on to our next person. Is that you, Leah? Are you next?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning. Yes, I'm next.
Okay. The question I wanted to ask you is that if we were going to choose a hawkish scenario, I'm a little concerned with some of the things that Anahit said about like debt dynamics and so on. But I'm also concerned that in the last two readings of inflation, I mean, if if those are anomalies, and if when I look at GDP now, we've got another quarter at 2.8%. So the second quarter was 2.8, and we're currently monitoring 2.8, and it's pretty broad brushed, with durables picking up, consumption's broad brushed. The latest retail trade numbers were pretty strong. If we end up in this world where growth is 2.8%, the unemployment rate is going to start falling again, and we'll be right back into maybe a labor market scenario that's overheating. But can you tell me, first of all, are you worried about that case A type of scenario? And if so, how would we go about explaining it to people that and communicating to financial markets, please?
Yes, so thanks, dear Governor. So let me start. I am agree with you, but let me start with a hawkish message from Michelle Bowman, which is member of the Board of Governors, about the next this critical meeting. And she said it's not the time to be cutting rates, and hikes are still on the table. So let's think about it. So. As Anna had already said, just not to repeat the same, but we have these two sides of risks in the big picture of the economy. From the other side, we have this consumption that is fueling the inflation, and we see that in the year-on-year level, the inflation is rising, and also we have this net wealth and that rose tremendously. But from the other side, we can see in the labor market that unemployment rate is also rising. It's already on 4.1%, and we have also some other signs that that the market is now cooling down. But the question here is, I think, from our risk management approach, to understand the most important question is to understand which type of policy error might be worse for us. And this is the essence of our least regret policy. So the policy error when we will start is policy stands quickly, and then it happens that underlying economic conditions and deflationary pressures are still there. Neutral rate is maybe higher than what we think, and inflation starts to reverse and increase, and Fed understands, then we understand that the problem of inflation hasn't been solved yet. Then we will start reverse the policy by increasing interest rates again. And the other side, policy error, when we will keep interest rates in the same level, in the higher level for longer, and then it happens that the economy starts to go into recession very quickly, and we realized that a bit late, and then we will start to reduce interest rates very quickly. So these are two possible errors, and from a risk management approach, we need to understand also the cost associated that. So in the hawkish stance, if we will go in the hawkish stance, costs of reducing interest rates early will be risks of reversing the policy if economy proves to be really strong, and the other cost is rising long-term inflation expectations. And if we follow the dovish assumptions, the cost associated for dovish things are creating unnecessary bigger recession, and another thing is not managing well the trade-offs between inflation and other objectives. And the other cost is elevated interest rate that can create risks to financial sector, and also threats to fiscal sustainability given the high level of debt. So your question is, am I hawkish? So I think that I can't be hawkish or dovish because we're not in a baseline world, and I can't give my perspectives, but we need to look at two sides of risks simultaneously, and understand that these two sides of risks are equally probable. But I think that today on a July rate cut may be a little bit premature, as I mentioned, these scenarios are still equally likely, and there is let's say there's not a smoking gun in the labor market that suggests that we need to act immediately, and we need to see a couple more inflation prints to be certain that this inflation will continue as we move through the third quarter. So I think that we can communicate the progress we have made on inflation. Then we can discuss that if this progress will continue, maybe we will do a rate cut in September. We just want to see more data and more, and for that we need a couple of more months. So for me, September is a base case for cutting rates, and soft landing looks very likely in overall economy and GDP. Certainly, the services sector is remaining very resolute, and our also industrial sector and manufacturing sector, that's where we're seeing a little bit more flatness or even flatness with a very slight downward bias. But we need to keep in mind that the first half of this year, especially the first quarter, we really saw data both from the inflation's point of view and from the labor, and jobs numbers certainly come in a bit stronger than we had expected. So we have been ramping down our expectations for cuts. And let's say I don't want to see our expectations come back too soon. We don't want to, I don't think, but let's say we don't want to be burned by moving too much or too quickly.
Very nice, Anahit. Or sorry, very nicely. Anahit, are you still there? Because
Yes.
So we also have Anahit, who was a level 1 student at the Global Forecasting School. And I was just wondering, what are your reflections on what Leah just said? Could you maybe add anything that you would like to add, or you agree with, maybe you could flesh out the communication strategy that she was talking about? Did you like it, or how would you change it, and so on?
So I think I will a little change of part with communicating the progress that we made, because this will be very important for markets. Market already the confidence of market of consumers is now high. They already are expecting that inflation will be lower and that will be increasing their rates. And I think if case A will be the more real with coming data, if we will give message that we had made that progress and this is a progress, they will be more optimistic. And in the word of case A, it will it will cause more harm, more harm for public, because when they are expecting that low inflation, their price it in their prices. And if case A is more real, that means that like keeping our rates high in case A world will cause more harm to them.
Sorry, but can I react? I also want to say that starting from the year, market expectations has changed 6 times, because in the start of the year, they waited 6 rate cuts. Then when it was in May or April, I don't remember, but when Summers was giving an interview to Bloomberg, they in markets waited on that time 3 rate cuts. And now they say that we think of 1 rate cut, but this can change again. And about effective communication, I think that under the best prudent risk approach for effective communication of the policy decision should clearly state what are the main trade-offs for policymakers and what type of risks our governor is facing and what type of words he thinks is more probable, and most importantly, which type of risk is more costly and better to avoid, let's say. I think this type of argument will clearly explain the logic under the decision and provide a better understanding of how policy decisions are made. Also, when the market participants clearly understand the decision-making process, they will react to new information quickly by adjusting their expectations in advance. So, and also what I said I mentioned about the policy errors, and I think that from risk management, why I mentioned this hawkish stance, because I think that from risk management and from least regrets perspective, I think given the initial conditions of the economy that we already discussed, and the fact that the inflation has been above the target, as you already mentioned, for 3 years, the KSA type of errors will be more costly, as in that situation inflation expectations may adjust upward, making some trade-offs for stabilizing inflation and output, and it will be more costly for the Fed.
Okay, very, very good. Thank you very much. I feel like I've learned things here. Today, after the decision, it would be nice to take all of your analysis, Leah, not just the one by you and Anahit, but by the other team members, and to package it all together so that we can have a joint session, okay, where somebody, probably you, could, and Anahit, I think, could participate in this as well, but so Paul gives his press conference, and then we have a session that talks about all the various issues that you guys have raised in the summer school, okay? And then, so somebody could present that, maybe you and Miriam, Leah, okay? And then the idea would be that the other students provide their perspectives about how their analysis or conclusions might be somewhat different. So it's sort of like a critique. What do you think about that? We could maybe do that tomorrow, like do some preparations.
I think just in terms of that, today we will leave a bit earlier. I think it will be better to do tomorrow, but also I can do it today, and it doesn't matter. You can decide.
Well, I do the work today. Just do the work pulling everybody's stuff together, because there's 12 more interviews today. Okay, so, but we have like 11 passes. Let's see, 6. I think we have 11 passes at this point. Okay, so so there's lots, and we just have to schedule a time for Thursday and Friday, basically to have some wrap up kind of assessments. Okay, so, but very good. Thank you very much. I appreciate everything that you said. See you later.
See you.
See you.
Leah, are you there?
I was just writing to you, Doug. Do you know what I wanted to say?
Yes.
You said that you said me to be a bit hawkish. That's why I didn't tell that. But also, I think that markets really expect a rate cut, because I was looking yesterday to some financial participants, and also there was Goldman Sachs CEO was saying that he is also waiting a rate cut. But yeah, I believe that after this, what happened in 2021, Fed will not do rate cut. But the markets, really, everyone is waiting a rate cut when I was researching.
I wanted to ask you something else. So there are some Python programs, okay, that basically we started preparing. Annie was working on it, right? We need to take over that so that it's incorporated into the regular production cycle. So could you get that stuff from her? And then we need to start updating it, okay? Now, I want to redesign some of the tables a little bit, but if you could just get them from her, and then you and me could talk about what needs to be updated now and what needs to be changed, then we can get her to make those changes, and then just make sure that they're updated, as soon as the data are updated. Second, the Georgians now, Anna and Sergey, are updating the market reference scenario every Thursday, as well as the case A and the case B scenarios every Friday, and putting a little presentation. And so this is on the Better Policy Project, right? And so what we want to do is we want to have you guys do the same. So this would be kind of the global monitoring. And so you and Anahit, are the key people here. So you should be updating the market reference scenario and the case A and case B as well. On Thursday, the market reference scenario, on Friday, the case A and case B's, but also building up all the current analysis tables and so on. Now, this is what we found, as we want to have something that works for lots of countries. So what we concluded was to have these 5 packs, at most 6 packs. So when you look at putting data together, where you have a combination of some nice charts and some tables, okay, because I want to make sure that everybody has a good grasp of the numbers that we want them to have. It's really good to pick just 5 variables or 6 variables, so you can do the labor market like then in a couple of pages, and it's much nicer because you can have a little bit of standardization across countries, but the problem is that if you try to build something where it's totally standard across countries, you end up with a mess because there's different concepts and that kind of stuff. So if you just get those things from Annie as soon as you get there, and then you and me just very quickly decide what it is we want. Okay. And the other thing is Anahit, if she's there, I think she should get the text for the presentation, like for this presentation, because I thought that you guys covered everything, but you could make it a lot smoother. Okay, so I think if Annie gets the text for the presentation right now, and then just puts it together, maybe with Leah going first, and then Anahit going second. But I mean, use the clone to basically get the language smoother today. That basically we could do a retake later in the day. Just that I didn't have any problems with the substance. I just found a little nervous. I just want to smooth out that voice. Anahit. Leah's was an A plus. Okay, just so you know. And I'm sure they were happy to congratulate her.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And I felt it.
Thanks. Thanks, Jack.
I like the whole style, and I would like the way that she, instead in the past, she would always go to that damn data first. It bore the hell out of us, but this time we got the message. It was more of a business style, right?
It
How
was
you
very
should.
constructive, I think. Constructive.
Yeah.
Also, Anna, it started very good. I prepared my presentation, but when I saw that she's speaking without presentation, I thought maybe I can do that too. So thanks, Anna Jen. Otherwise, I would start again with the uncertainties in the labor market and with some technical data or some stuff in there.
It
The
was
other thing too, yeah. I sent some stuff around yesterday for GDP. Okay, so a picture of what all the numbers I want people to write down every day when GDP now is updated, as well as the last couple of quarters. They should have all those numbers in their head. Okay, and I have the Georgians working on a dynamic Okun's law equation, just to show that if we actually did get 2.8 in the third quarter with a 2.8 in the second quarter, that the likelihood of unemployment falling is quite significant, which is, I don't think most people know that, and it may be the case that we don't get 2.8 in the third quarter, but with output growth outpacing potential by a percentage point for a couple of quarters, that is a significant enough development to get the unemployment rate going back down. And I can't wait to see a press report if unemployment started going back down, because people would we're going in the other direction and so on. So I think the next labor market is in a couple days, right? I mean, I think it's on the 2nd, so that could be interesting. Okay, so I want to have all those reports for inflation and the labor market. That's what I'm looking to get done here. Okay. So anything else? Okay, so I'll see you later. Are you coming in to work?
Yes.
Okay, see you in a bit. Annie?
Yes, Doug.
Hello, good morning. Okay, so Annie, as you know, I've been in the Hawks camp in the past because, I was concerned that underlying inflation was much higher than what was suggested by the PCE and so on. And I'm also one of the people that believe the neutral rate is much higher, more along the lines of what's priced in financial markets. But what I'd like you to do today is, I'm starting to get worried about case B too, given the soft indicator. So maybe what you could do is tell me how we should think about, case B and case A and so on. And what kind of advice would you give me? Not only deciding the policy rate today, but what kind of strategy for communicating with financial markets to make sure that we don't underprice uncertainty and so on, that we don't magnify uncertainty with monetary policy.
Thank you very much for the questions. It's an honor to advise you in that matter. So now I will start providing future probable scenarios regarding U.S. economy. And so I will, as I know, it's obvious that you know about the newly established system that Central Bank of Armenia has been utilized since the start of this year. But I want to talk briefly about it. So basically providing these different type of scenarios helps us kind of address risks and uncertainties in the world that's going on. As we know, recently uncertainty has been rising due to the pandemic events and also recent geopolitical tensions, that uncertainty has become kind of inherent, so you cannot get rid of it, but you can provide different types of scenarios which address risks underlying this economy. And so these scenarios include a case A, case B type scenarios, and also market reference scenario, which provides, which incorporates these expectations, market expectations. And contrary to that, we provide case A scenario, which incorporates policy path higher than what market expects it to be, and case B provides, contrary to that, policy path which is lower than what market incorporates in its expectations. We also have case X, case Y scenarios for our tough times. So those are the extreme cases, the so-called dark corners of the economy, which requires more hawkish or more dovish policy actions. So under this scenario, we address these following questions. The first one is about analyzing current stance of the economy, which is where is the economy now. The second one is what we think might be driving it, is the question that we address where we want to think about the main channels, transmission mechanism and features of the economy. And the third one is the most important one, where we think what we need to do with our instruments to achieve our objectives. So here we address, this refers to the third principle of monetary policy, according to which central bank needs to adjust its instruments sufficiently aggressively to set a nominal anchor. In case of Fed, we know that it has dual mandate, price stability and maximum employment. And if it fails to achieve its objectives, then it will lose credibility and we will have higher sacrifice ratio and the disinflation cost will be even higher. So these incidents of failures usually, sorry?
Oh, just had a cough, I'm sorry.
These incidents usually happen to be in non-FPAS central banks, which lack these in three ingredients of FPAS. They also lack this accountability, which come from transparency. And those are such as Bank of Brazil or Bank of England. And those countries usually, some of them are not even independent to begin with, which is very important in achieving their objectives. So this lack of independence can be also described by the so-called interest rate corridor, which is a defined range of the interest rates within which the central bank is kind of restricted to do its monetary policy. So on the upper bound, we have a fiscal dominance, and on the lower bound is the effective lower bound. And here, before doing nowcasting, I want to provide a little history and provide a real life example of this effective lower bound. So pandemic event can be a very good example of the effective lower bound, where we saw that many central banks worldwide, including Fed itself, cut the interest rate close to zero. So they couldn't even go further to cut the interest rate and to kind of motivate the economy. So these provided incentives to shift from conventional policies to unconventional policies, such as, for example, quantitative easing, buying and selling government bonds, and so on. And so if we look at the US data, then we can see that it was carried out with fiscal expansion along with monetary easing. So we can see that as of June 2024, the national debt stands very high, approximately more than $34 trillion. And compared to the same period of the last year, it has increased by more than $3 trillion. So this is a massive increase. And together with growing debt, we can see that the M2 measure of money, which contains cash and deposits, it has also increased massively. And so this reflects this increase reflects the increasing precautionary savings in the economy, and it was carried out with both fiscal expansion and monetary easing, and so during this pandemic. And so this influx of savings into the financial markets actually drove up the price asset prices, both financial and non-financial assets. As if we look at the S&P 500 index, we can see it doubled. It almost doubled compared to the pre-pandemic period. And also non-financial assets as well, such as housing prices, have increased more than 50%. So these incidents have actually strengthened the household balance sheet, and it resulted in a massive increase of the household net worth, around more than $45 trillion between the first quarter of 2020 and the last quarter of 2023. So this is, if we compare it with the GDP, this is more than double the GDP of the US. So this is a massive number, a massive increase. And if you look at the household balance sheet decomposition, we can see that most of this increase usually come from the financial assets. So these can raise some fiscal sustainability issues in terms of higher term premium, and so the borrowing cost might become even higher, and it will slow down the economy. And also this can raise also financial stability issues. So if we look at the real GDP, real growth of the economy and the real interest rate, if this real interest rate remains below this growth of the economy, then it might create some incentives for households to borrow excessively. So this because their collateral has been increased, and they believe that these asset prices might go and drive up even further. But here we can remember the Alan Greenspan's irrational exuberance code, which refers to these asset price bubbles where assets might burst suddenly, and so this sudden downturn of asset prices might create some disturbances in the economy, and so it will result in financial instabilities. So in the worst case, it might result to a financial crisis. This might create room for the case B type scenario. But on the other hand, some of these increase in the asset prices might come from the fundamentals. So as the markets, some economists like Larry Summers think that neutral rate might be higher than what we perceive it to be. So as of the numbers, Fed provides 2.8% for the neutral rates currently, but a market incorporates these expectations of higher neutral rate, and it expects it to be even higher, around 3.5%. And Larry Summers suggests that it is actually higher than that. So it comes from the supply side. So these provide some fundamentals. These AI productivity growth might become the reason. And so if you look at this ongoing, we can describe it in a way that this ongoing tightening process provided by Fed for an extended period could not be sufficient actually to tame this overheated labor market, and also robust consumption coming from the households. So looking at this consideration, we can think that actually neutral rate might be higher than what we think it is. So this actually might create case A type consideration in a way that Fed's efforts might not be aggressive enough to tame inflation and to anchor inflationary expectations. If we speak of the consumption and domestic demand, we can see that there is a strong demand coming from this consumption side. And as of the latest estimate provided by the Atlanta Fed, GDP now has increased from 2.6% to 2.8%. And if you look at the decomposition, we can see that most of this increase comes from the services consumption. So this services consumption is the main driving of this pent-up demand. And if you look at the recent developments, we can see that people have started to shift from consuming goods to consuming services. And this goes in line with this underlying inflation story as well. And so, but still there is some uncertainty regarding this consumption. Will the consumption increase further or not? And here I want to bring two arguments. First refers to the asset prices, and it refers to the political uncertainties regarding this. And as I have already mentioned, most of the I would say increase of these asset prices come from the bubble itself. So it is very vulnerable. And if we look at the political tensions that are coming recently, we can see that asset prices reflect these political tensions as well. For example, recently when we saw Biden has announced that they will continue the economic war with China, we saw there was a sudden downturn in the asset prices. So this news has incorporated in the dynamics of the asset prices. But after that, when Biden has announced that he will quit the political race, the asset prices has increased again. Still, we can see that the asset prices are on their rise, but there are some uncertainties that will it continue to be so. And on the other hand, there are excess savings which have been depleted according to the IMF World Economic Outlook provided in the April of 2024. And they suggest that they claim that these excess precautionary savings which have been accumulated during pandemic events have almost been depleted. So this will have its implications of further consumption rising. So it will kind of reduce consumption over time. We see that more than 2.3 trillion US dollar excess savings have been depleted. So this raises room for the case B type considerations. And this uncertainty in terms of this consumption fueling further also continues in the labor market as well. So we also have labor market uncertainty in the labor market. As there are some cooling signs, if you look at the vacancy rates, there are some recent cooling signs here, but still this labor market continues to be overheated. And so if you look at the unemployment rate, it's still lower than the natural rate of the unemployment, which is around 4.3%. So these cooling signs which we see from the vacancy rate are also incorporated in the wages. So wages incorporate these signs of cooling, which can result in the case B type scenario. But if there is also, as I said, uncertainty, for example, if you look at the in terms of political case, we can see that Trump is very resistant to immigration, and it suggests that labor market might still be overheated and might still remain tight. So this in turn creates a room for case A type considerations. As for the credit conditions, we can see that there are some tightening signs here, which aim to generate credit crunch in the economy, and it eventually will restrict this pent-up demand, which comes from the consumption, and we refer to this as a case B type consideration. So overall, if you look at the inflation, sticky price inflation measures, we can see that they are on their decreasing dynamics recently, but still compared to the 2% target, they still remain elevated. So if you look at the overall headline inflation, we can see that inflation is decreasing. But this decrease is incorporated in the market expectations. So they expect Fed to cut the interest rate starting from the September. But here I want to mention that most of this increase come usually from the flexible prices. So here we have to be very cautious. And if you look at the decomposition, the sticky price contains around 70% of the basket, and flexible prices are around 30%. Looking at the flexible prices, we can see that flexible prices decrease more sharply compared to the sticky prices. And here I want to mention, for example, shelter prices. As of the June 2024, the shelter prices are approximately at the 5.1%, which is still elevated. Of course, we saw that it has decreased from the 8% as of the March 2024, but still it still remains very elevated compared to the 2% target. Also, if we look at, for example, core services inflation, it is again around 5%. Again, we saw the decreasing dynamics over that from around 8%, but still it is above 2% target. So here I want to suggest Fed to be very careful in cutting their interest rates. And as I have already told, market expects Fed to cut the interest rates, and this expectation, this probability of cutting the interest rate raises as the time flows. But so if you look at the market expectations, they expect it to cut, and the long run rate for the neutral interest rate, they expect it to be around 3.5%. And if you look at the market, Atlanta Fed's market probability tracker, we can see that previously they expected more flat response from the Fed, and now they expect more sharp cut from the Fed. And so they believe, if you look at this chart, we can say that they actually believe the soft landing scenario, as opposed to what Larry Summers has suggested. And we know that Fed has provided around 2.8% neutral rate, but market expects it to be a little higher, around 3.5%. But still, they still believe that this disinflation process will not harm the economy, and it will be more of a soft landing scenario. So if I want, I want to kind of recap my case A and case B type considerations. First one about case A type considerations is the higher neutral rate. So as I said, many economists believe that the neutral rate might be actually higher than what Fed perceives it to be, and it is because of the strong growing economy that we have right now, despite this Fed's ongoing tightening. So we might consider that Fed's effort to tame inflation might still be not aggressive enough in this matter. And again, this story is connected with consumption, because this strong growth of the economy comes from the services consumption mainly, and it is fueled by the strong household balance sheet. And here we also see that labor market still remains very overheated and tight, and political tensions regarding Trump's resistance to the immigration system also can be additional reason to consider this tight labor market to sustain it for a while. And on the other hand, we have case B type considerations, where we see that recently labor market has shown some signs of cooling down in terms of the decrease in the vacancy rates, and these wages also incorporate these recent cooling effects. And still, we see that labor market is overheated. So we do not have to ignore this fact. We do not have to forget that. Another thing regarding case B type considerations is the saving rates, where we suggested by the IMF World Economic Outlook. We see that these excess savings have almost been depleted, and we see that saving rates are getting back to the normal rates. So we can conclude that this might suggest that consumption might not decrease further, and it will even create a scenario where consumption decreases. And also in terms of financial markets, we see that there are tightening signs of the loan conditions, and this might break this persistent strong demand that comes from the consumption. So these are my illustrative scenarios. As I said, my market reference scenario incorporates these market expectations, where they expect that Fed will eventually decrease the interest rate starting from the September, and they will create this soft landing scenario, eventually converging to around 3.5%. And unemployment will converge to its long-run sustainable level to around 4.2%. Here we see that in the market reference scenario, both year-on-year core PCE inflation and 3 months over 3 months core sticky prices inflation, they eventually and gradually converge to the 2% target. But in case of case A type scenario, we see that labor market still remains overheated, which is below, the unemployment rate will still remain below the NAIRU level. And this will create some additional inflationary inflationary forces here, we can see from looking at the core PCE inflation, both year-on-year in year-on-year terms on 3 months over 3 months terms, still they will remain elevated, and the convergence to 2% target will require actually higher interest rate path than what market expects. So here, the Fed will be even more hawkish. The stance of the Fed will be hawkish. And in case of case B type scenario, we will see that Fed will have, we will see some overshooting in my perspective. So we will see that the unemployment rate is actually there will come a time where unemployment rate will be slightly higher than what Nauru is, and this will create some undershooting in terms of the inflation rate. So we will see that inflation might come down and decrease more than the 2%, below the 2% target, and so Fed will decrease the interest rate even more sharply compared to what market expects currently. So if we look at these scenarios, and considering that case A type scenarios come from the more fundamental things in the economy, and they reflect more sustainable trends in the economy, then I suggest that Fed still be cautious in cutting the interest rates. And as we know, today is their meeting in 2 p.m. and I suggest them to keep the interest rates constant and still not rush to the monetary easing cycle right now, because as there are some cooling signs in the economy, still we can see that both labor market is still overheated, and the household balance sheet is very strong. So I suggest Fed to still keep the interest rate constant around 5.25 to 5.5%. So that was my considerations regarding case A and case B type scenarios, and my suggestion of keeping interest rate constant. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Annie. That was a very informative presentation. In fact, it gave me an idea, because I think I'd like you to join me in a Zoom room with the Georgians right now. We do our regular, but I have to send you like an invitation, because I think if you could work with Miriam, what you just did right now would be a great kind of introduction to everybody else, and then everybody else would kind of like comment on do they recommend Dove or Hawk or both, but I think if you gave that presentation, which was very nice and smooth, but there's a few spots that maybe we could smooth out just a little bit, and so if it starts at 10 o'clock. Are you in Diligent now or Yerevan?
No, currently I'm in Yerevan, but I can join in.
Okay, no worries. We can basically just work by Zoom. So I'll send you the Zoom link now, okay? And then
sure.
Then I think you could work with the Georgians, and we can basically put something together. Okay, come. I'll send the link. I'll send the link now. Very good.
Asya, are you here by any chance? Hi, Sergey.
Hi.
Are you in touch with Asya by any chance? Or do you have a permission to record?
I sent her an email. I guess I still need the permission to record.
Yeah, that's the issue. I will try to call her then.
Okay, thanks.
All right, does anyone have questions about which room to join, or you don't know how to join the room? Everything's clear?
Oh, I don't know how to join the room.
Okay, so you go to the bottom right and you have join breakout room. Do you see it?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah, click there and choose who is the person. Who are you?
I think it's Anna.
Anna.
One sec, let me
So
check.
you look for Anna and click on join where there's Anna.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Hello,
Alex.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Is it possible that you can get the permission? Yes, Annie, you've been talking to me.
Yeah, I just hello. I just wanted to ask, should we be here?
Yeah, I don't think you need to be here. Like you feel invited to be here,
Yeah.
but I don't think you have to. No, it's okay.
Okay. Thanks.
No worries, no worries. So Sergey, Asya, did Asya give you the permission, or if not, she will do it shortly.
I think not yet.
Okay, well then I'll come to my friends and to Anna to let them know. If you have any questions, I'll be on Zoom.
Yeah, Alexander, Anna is not there in the
Anna is not
meeting.
there. Like at all?
I mean, she was there in the beginning, but then I
Oh.
guess she left. Probably like
Okay.
some technical issues.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I'll ask her.
Mhm.
Okay. Good. I asked her. She should be joining. Sergey, how about you? Do you have
Let me test, but I think I don't yet
Go-
have it.
go
Okay,
on?
let me test and I'll
Because like
tell you.
wait. Okay. Record room. Anna is here. That's what she's telling me. So maybe you can.
Yeah, Alex, I don't yet have it. So
You don't have it. Well,
no.
Atya, are you here? Is it possible that Sergey can get the permission? Because like I, for example, have it, but
Hello.
I-
Yes. Hi all. Sorry I'm late because
Okay.
Doug just sent us some other Zoom email and I joined them, but I told them that I'm supposed to be a governor here.
Oh,
So
okay. I will
he's
need to
okay.
join that link as well. So Andre is here. Just go to your room and I'll ask Asya for the permission to record. This is mass. Anyway, it's okay. Not your
Okay,
fault.
I will to my room.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, I will be also in my room.
Yes.
Alex, what about me? Where should I go? I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
you don't need to
a bit
go
confused.
anywhere. So we have the interviews with the governors, but you had it already with that, so we are okay.
So, sorry again.
Wait a
I'm a
minute.
little confused.
Just a minute. Okay, so we had the we are having the interviews, like case analysis of the US economy. And there are different people who are like a governor. So Sergey is a governor, he has its own group of people. Anna is also a governor. Mikron is also a governor. And then Narek will be a governor. I will be introducing him. But you had your interview already like now at 9:30, as I understand correctly, with Dak here. So you're already done.
But Doug said that I stay with Georgians. So I don't
Okay.
know.
Dak sent me a Zoom link. I'll just join the Zoom link.
He said he will send me a Zoom link, but
I got the Zoom link.
I still didn't go.
You didn't, because I did. So wait.
Oh, okay. If
Yeah,
you
I
can
got
already.
Shalva, Mariam, Tamta, Anna, Sergey, but I mean Anna and Sergey are busy. Georgi, Anahit, Leah, Asia, and me. Okay, so I'll just forward
Maybe
it to
he
you.
forgot me.
Yeah, probably. I mean, lots of people understand. Okay, almost send it to another Annie, the Annie from head of HR. Anyway, okay, it should be done. So I guess you can just
Okay,
join that
thank
link.
you. Thanks.
It's anything changed, Sergey? Did you get the permission or
No, not yet.
no?
Still.
Okay, I'll see Anna and then we'll Are you sure you cannot record? Because maybe there's another question. I think Azzy is live streaming. I mean, this is another question, but we can solve it later. So maybe you can go to your room and you can record there.
Yeah, I already been there and tried to, but I don't have the record button.
You don't? But it
No.
says that you have to ask permission for host to record, or does it say something else?
Yeah, in this main room, it says request the host to record.
In the main room. Okay,
Yeah.
how about if we go to your breakout room? Because Anna can record. And how about is your participant there? Like
Yeah,
God?
he's here.
Yes,
He's
yes,
there.
yes. I'm just going to share the screen and record it.
Oh, Anna, but you were already in your room. Is there any problem?
1 second. Just he could not share the slide, so I'm going to
Okay,
share.
sure. Just share it in the main room. Like not in my room, sorry, in your room.
Here, right? Yes, yes.
Like not here,
Okay, I will
in your
try
room.
it in my room, but I don't.
Okay, I will go to your room, Sergey, as well.
Okay, no. Yes, yes.
Sorry, Alex, did you
Yes.
send me a mail? Because I
I
didn't
did
get it.
forward you the link. Can you
Oh, I
find it?
didn't. Can you send it in WhatsApp? Because I couldn't
Sure.
get. It's not working. I
No
don't.
worries, no problem, no problem, no problem.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I just need to find you what. 46 members of our group. That's crazy. Okay, I don't think I have you saved. Is your number plus 37455980919?
15.
15, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will.
Thanks.
Yeah, sorry, Alex. I checked in my room and I cannot record. So,
Cannot.
like,
Okay.
maybe I don't know. We can do it without recording because otherwise, like,
Okay, let me call
for
Asya.
this
If that
purpose.
doesn't work, we will do that.
Okay.
Because it will be useful for you, because you have today, because you're not being interviewed yourself, you got quite significant
I
number
know,
of
but
people.
I'm from
Yeah,
my own computer.
it's not your fault. And just explaining to you why
Obviously,
I want to do so. Wait. Oh, Annie. Yeah, sure. Sorry. Okay, I sent you the link. I mean, Annie.
Thanks very much.
Okay, I will call Asya. Okay, Sergey, so I talked to Asia and the problem is this follows, that you cannot record because you're using the Chrome version of Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you possibly use the app?
No, unfortunately, because on our work computer we cannot use Zoom. So I'm joining from the web browser.
I see. But like other Georgians could record. Is there like,
I guess they are from home.
oh,
So I
I
don't
see.
have the personal computer with me, so that's
I see. Okay, okay, okay. Well, then you cannot record at all. Um, We can either go without recording, or I can record for you. But I don't know whether, no, but I have my other stuff. No, no, no. Let me just call Dak, but most probably we'll just go without recording this time.
Okay.
I'll join in a minute. Back.
Okay.